We are live. So,
Hello.
hello. This is Alison, or as she likes to be called, Ali, and she has just joined the Sons of God community. And we brought Ali in because we felt like we needed a feminine presence. We felt like over 100 guys were getting a bit imbalanced in a sense, and just needed to bring a bit more of that feminine essence into the group. So I've known you, Ali, for a few years now. We've probably known of each other for about 7 or 8 years, and we've connected more deeply over the last few years. And yeah, one of the reasons that I thought you'd be a great addition is because you're very experienced with energy work, and that I feel is just such a major component of this journey of SR, semen retention, is beginning to get more in touch with energy, beginning to connect more with the body and getting out of the mind. So that was one thing. And then the other thing is that I feel that you've been on your own journey of integrating masculine, feminine, experiencing both sides of that polarity, and I think you're able to understand a lot of the masculine perspective, but you're also able to bring it back to the feminine. So maybe could you start by telling us, I've just got Bubba in the room here with me while his mum's out.
It's beautiful. Doesn't stop Dad creating, does it?
Oh no, no way. So maybe you could tell us a bit about your journey with energy work. You can share anything that you feels relevant, and also this topic of sexual alchemy, how you came across that. I mean, because that's kind of connected to semen retention, and yeah, what your journey's been over the years to get to where you are today.
Yeah, that we could talk for a whole hour on just that alone. But yeah, I wanted to say thank you very much for welcoming me into your community of men. And I just feel very, very honored and hold so much reverence for each and every one of you in the community who are on this journey of God mode and semen retention. I have the utmost respect for the self-discipline that it takes, and it's normal to fall off the horse and we get back on again, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So for me, my mother passed away about 10 years ago, and not long after that, once she was spirit side, I feel like that really opened up so many opportunities for me. And I came across Reiki, which I just thought was another form of massage, but I was very wrong. And from there, it just like when I started to receive Reiki myself, it opened me. It kind of like, it's like waking you up, right? So we are our physical incarnation. I'm Ali, you are Ben, but we are so much more than that. And Reiki is a beautiful, subtle, gentle energy healing modality that kind of wakes up your spiritual and energetic self. And for me, that was a pivotal turning point. And then like other little things just started to pop in on my path. So I came to learn more about my own chakras, the energy meridians from traditional Chinese medicine, and just learning how to feel into and tune into my own imbalances and harmonization. So it's been quite a journey just to really understand this vessel that I'm in and all of the components that make up who I am. Like you said, Ben, we're not just our mind. We are not just our thoughts. And so learning about heart energy and the heart's magnetic field was another big opener for me, because when we know more about the chakra system, you know, the top 3 chakras are connected to our divinity or our spiritual self, and the bottom 3 are very much around our physical incarnation. So to learn about the heart chakra and the heart's magnetic field of resonance is the bridge. It's the bridge, right? We need to crack our hearts open to allow this dual flow of energy to start to really embody into our incarnation while we're here on earth. Yeah, so once I kind of got a hold of that, like I just got really thirsty for understanding all cultures, religions, all cultures, spiritual text. And I'm an avid reader, so I just kept reading all the books, like, you know, the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, and I'm reading the Bible all the time, just whatever I could consume around understanding spirituality as a whole, not religion so much, but spirituality. And then, you know, this little thread starts to show up in the tapestry of, you know, this aligns with this and it's interconnected to that. And you start to feel into it yourself around what is your truth, you know, what feels alive for you. And for me, it was very much around sacred union and understanding how that all works, you know. So yeah, you asked me to talk too on the masculine and the feminine. I guess the biggest thing I could say around that is I was in a marriage and I created a beautiful family and 2 beautiful children. And it came to a point where I realized it was a toxic relationship and needed to leave it. And so I've been a single mama for many, many years and had no choice but to be in my masculine and protect and provide for my children. And amongst doing that, I didn't want to work 9 to 5 every day of the week and never have time to be a mama. So I created a business where I was first offering like bodywork, massage and Reiki, and then further went into talking therapy, so counseling. And now I have training in psychedelic assisted therapies, and I'm a tantra teacher as well. So I just keep following my passions and interests. But to be able to run a business, you need to be in your masculine, right? And you know, also wanting to leave time to be a mama. So for me, creating that business freed me up to not have as much mama guilt, so that I could spend more time in my family and raising my children. And so, yeah, having to understand both of those parts of myself and figure out, you know, how to integrate them, how that they can be in a union with one another, the inner marriage, right? So then I know when I'm at work and I've got my work hat on, I'm in my masculine, and then I often will flow in my sessions too. You know, there's enough structure that I can turn up and just flow. But yes, when I come home, it's like get that off and get back into this juicy kind of feminine mode, which is beautiful to be able to access both of those parts of me.
Love it. And so I didn't know that you were a tantra teacher. Can you tell us about that? Like what that involves?
Yeah, so that's my most recent certification, qualification. I guess I decided to do that because my own personal interest in sacred union and just in, you know, even solo cultivation. Like I've been working on solo cultivation and my side of things for many, many years. And I had all of these beautiful books and watching the YouTube videos and trying to make sense of it all. I just felt the call to start sharing that with others, and mainstream culture favors a kind of qualification these days, so I thought I may as well get one. But yeah, Tantra is such a beautiful way of life. I see it as a way of life, right? So it's not just about sex or partnered or solo practices and that union side of things. Like for me, it's more around, you know, following the Tao. You know, have you read the Tao Te Ching? Following the Tao and life force and being able to stay very much in tune with my own sacredness, my own path, my own divinity.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a journey, isn't it?
Mm.
So what I'm curious to know about your journey, about your where you've come to, is more around the sacred union. And what were some of the things you discovered? You know, you said you love reading, you love learning about religions, philosophies, the common thread. What were some of those things you discovered along the way that pointed you towards sacred union?
Mm. Well, a lot of those symbolic and iconic things like Shiva Shakti, or kind of philosophies, and just even hearing about polarity, or what is consciousness and form, masculine and feminine, and always hearing of these two, and we know like everything comes from the one or the monad. So from one then becomes duality. So we're living in this dualistic realm. And for me, like, there's always this yearning to be love and to share love. And whenever I've been in a partnership with a man, for some reason, it's just he always becomes the center of my world, because I just want to, pour so much love into him and into our union. So part of it is just an intrinsic drive as a woman to want to be in that space with my beloved. But yeah, all of the different things that I'd read were pointing towards, unity, or one monad becomes two. And so when I think of two, I think of man and woman, in this realm, in physicality.
Yeah, one of the books that you recommended to me once was I think it was the Magdalene Manuscript.
Yes.
Could you share a bit about that book and how that shaped your perspective?
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up in a Christian household, and, very much knew and understood the literal version of the Bible and Jesus. And then in some of the, breadcrumbs that I was following, I was more about Mary Magdalene and came across that book. And it was a beautiful channeling from someone, a woman and man together had channeled Mary Magdalene's voice, and she spoke to how she and Yeshua, or Jesus, were divine counterparts, and how they themselves were practicing sexual alchemy. And so there's a beautiful explanations in there around the magnetic fields that open up in both men and women when they are being intimate with one another, and how that can really cultivate and build our spiritual selves, or our soul, So that made me so curious. I'm like, okay, so this is giving me a little bit more of the piece of the puzzle, but, how? And so it does speak around this term nesting. So a woman, I don't know if you know, but a woman's womb is like a spiritual portal to the divine. And so when her magnetic floor, they call it, is opened and activated, and this energy starts to kind of build in her field, if he can stay in that field, he's going to be nourished by that. It's really going to fuel his field as well. Like, he's creating his own magnetics, but it's going to amplify, because that's what female or feminine is doing. She's amplifying what he's bringing.
Yeah. And so what was the message in that book about how Christ was able to embody the fullness of the Spirit of God? What was that message that was shared?
So he went through what we know with crucifixion, is he went through the death portal, right? So the book talks around in their practices with dual cultivation, Mary was assisting Jesus to create his car or light body, his soul, so that when he physically died, right, his soul didn't. So his essence or soul of that being that he is, that God that he is, was able to go to heaven, sit at the right hand of God, right? And so I do believe that that's why we're here. That's the whole point, right? So this journey that I've been on of just wanting to seek truth and know and understand the meaning of life. And I'm sure that's, a little seed that's planted in all of us. And some of us pick it up and run with it, and some of us kind of just get distracted by all the shiny things here. But that's why we're here. We're here to go to heaven. We're here to get back to God. And in being able to do that, sacred union's the pathway. That's the pathway.
I think so. Yeah, because so even though Christ had to go through that death portal, as it says in the book, he was only able to activate those cities and tap into that power beforehand while he was doing his ministry as a result of the initiatic process of sexual alchemy with his priestess. Is that kind of what the book says?
Absolutely. It definitely alludes to that. Man can only go so far on his own. He needs woman and union to get back.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I believe, just off memory, that book was referring back to practices that had been performed since the days of Egypt. Like, it was a long lineage of spiritual tradition, obviously secret, but I forget the name, but it was like, was it the initiation of Isis or something like that? I remember some different terms.
Yeah. They call it the alchemies of Horus is your solo cultivation, but the sex magic of Isis is the sacred union part. And so I myself, since I was a very small girl, have had an affinity with Egyptian culture. And I guess too, anything that kind of evokes that part in me, whether it be, reading a book about it or having pictures, or like the Ankh symbol with, the loop at the top of the cross. That's the symbol I've always been drawn to. And I didn't even know until a few years back, but that's the symbol of life, or the key of life, because it's feminine and masculine, right? It's that balance of the two energies. But yes, so these kinds of practices, human beings or spiritual beings have been doing them for eons.
Yeah.
And it's probably all over the temple walls in Egypt in hieroglyph. If you just know how to read the symbology, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
So it's Isis and Osiris that create Horus.
Right.
Yeah. So you would liken that to in your great arcanum, that those two energies create or birth the third, the Christ, right?
Yeah.
So man and woman come together and birth the Christ, or the soul. Yeah.
Pretty deep stuff that we're getting into. And I think for the average person who's like dabbling in semen retention, or even a woman, a female who's dabbling in brahmacharya, which is like have you heard of that path, like the path of celibacy for women?
Yes, I've heard little bits about it.
Yeah. I think for the average person who's interested in those topics, this can be pretty shocking to discover that perhaps it's not about just going it alone, and perhaps one of the most powerful and accelerated paths that we can utilize to come back to oneness, or come back to our true nature, is through this alchemy.
Do you want to know my thoughts on why I feel like that is it too?
Sure.
It links into it links into more of our being, like more parts of our being, I believe. So the sexual magic part, or the sacred union part, is definitely one of the most divine parts, because who doesn't want to enjoy all of sensuality and, you know, love making and just being with our beloved? That's so divine. It's like what we yearn for every day, right?
Yeah.
However, we are still physical beings on the 3D plane, and we still have our psyche and, you know, our history or past experiences, and who knows how many incarnations. I believe in that too. But there's nothing quite like your romantic relationship. Trigger the fuck out of you.
It's
right?
true, yeah.
Add to that, there's nothing quite like retaining that's going to bring up psychological and emotional content too, right?
Yeah.
And so what the whole aim of this partnership is to clear out and heal or transmute or reconcile, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing. The stuff, clear out the baggage, clear out the trauma, the triggers, the shadow, the blockages, because we're here to be free. We are here to be free and childlike and revel in the awe and the wonder of this place.
Agreed.
But we get stuck. We get so stuck. So yeah, there's so much more going on, I believe. That's just what I believe.
Yeah. Oh, that's definitely true. So, okay. Yeah, back to what you were saying about the Egyptian hieroglyphs. One thing that I found really interesting was that the pharaohs in the hieroglyphs, they always had this headpiece with a serpent coming out the top, like right at the top of the crown.
Yes.
And doing a bit of research, listening to some different people speak on that, I realized that represents the raised serpent of Kundalini.
It absolutely does. I think they used to call it Urasis or Uraeus or something.
Yeah.
But yes, it's definitely around serpent energy and the Ida and Pingala channels, you know, activating to like raise the energy from the base to the crown.
And that's what allowed them to be in that position of rulership, is because they had raised the Kundalini. So just like they say in the history and the traditions, the pharaoh was God on earth. Like that's what they actually said. The pharaoh was as God, ruled and reigned as God on earth.
Yes.
And I find that so fascinating. You know, as well as all of the different Christ figures, like you said, Horus and Mithras and all these different, you know, Krishna, all these different Christ types that we see throughout history. It's not just one Christ, the one that we know from Nazareth, apparently. It's this same archetype reappearing again and again and again. And so what I feel that all of this is showing us is that we are here to embody that. We are here to embody the Christ energy, not to be a follower of an external Christ, but to allow Christ to live within the energy of Christ. And that only comes fully in its full expression through raising the crude matter, the raw sexual energy from the lowest chakra, and raising that all the way up to the crown so that serpent comes out from the top of the crown. And it's no longer the downward serpent pulling us into materiality, physicality. It's now the ascended serpent that's risen again from materiality and now rules and reigns as the full expression.
Hallelujah.
So
yes.
So I mean, where's your curiosity now around the sacred union? Like, I suppose where are you feeling yourself being pulled? What do you want to learn about that or experience in that arena?
Well, I had an experience a few weeks ago myself, during a solo practice, which very much felt like a clearing out of the channels, because I've known a lot about the solar and lunar serpents, or the Ida and Pingala. Like each people, like groups of people, label that differently. But I'd had this experience of so many different sensations in my body, but also feeling states like arise within a period of maybe 15 minutes. And like I've been wondering myself if that was like more of a kind of like awakening or clearing, or even just it may not happen once for some people. It may just be in increments, right? But it was such a powerful energy, and it was upward direction. And so I'm just in this beautiful, curious space of, like, I've read a lot around, in the Bible it talks about the milk and honey, and in our brains we have both the pineal and the pituitary gland. And if we can get the energy up into, like, the serpents to rise up into the mind, the brain, then those two fluids that are in those glands of the endocrine system are released. And it's it feeds and nourishes the body. So I'm like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. Yeah. I just want to feel that. I just want to experience that.
Enlightenment.
Yes. Yes.
Did you happen to watch the Great Arcanum, like the hour-long one that I sent you?
Yeah, I watched it after you sent it to me. And yeah, a lot of that has been the little pieces of the things that I'd already read. I think there was a small bit of new information, but yeah, it was like a big red ribbon that I was already aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a great share. I think anybody who is curious about sacred union or illumination, like you say, enlightenment, needs to watch that.
100%.
Yeah, it's very succinct, the delivery of it.
Yeah, because it kind of tells you the full story, and going back to the Adam and Eve story and unpacking all of that allegory and realizing that we fell as a result of our abuse of the sexual energy.
Yes.
And, we fell from that fourth dimension, that higher plane of being. And so that's the key to get back. It's like, it's just so plain, it's just so in your face and just broken down so simply. Because I spent a lot of years thinking, I can meditate myself to enlightenment. I can just do yoga asanas, and I can just breathe my way back to, my true self. But it really seems clear now. It becomes clearer and clearer as time goes on to me that this sacred union it's the heart of all of it.
All those other practices just prepare you for this. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty profound stuff.
It sure is. But when you think about the way a lot of the world is heading right now, and even just mainstream, singers and artists, and the things that the Illuminati or whatever you want to label that stuff, what they're kind of pushing down people's throats with this highly sexualized, representation on screens everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but, for me, my whole life, it's not the same for everyone, but for me, my whole life, that's been a sacred act. That's not been something to publicize or, to demonize or to push down people's throats. It's something that's done behind closed doors and in private for me.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't think of a more beautiful and reverent way to, commit or devote myself to a pathway than through this, you know, and it feels like the greatest truth. There's no greater truth beyond this. And I'd much rather be practicing that with my beloved and returning to Eden than dancing on some pole on a stage, you know. Maybe there's a pole in the bedroom at home, but no one else gets to see that but him.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this push towards promiscuity, and it's this push towards the wasting of the life essence.
Yes.
Through the pure pleasure-seeking aspect of sex, rather than cultivating the energetic connection. It's more of that focus on, you know, it's like with porn. I used to have an addiction to porn, and I always found it was just so hollow. It was, even though it could get you aroused, I would get aroused watching it. I would always feel this kind of emptiness, because the depictions of sex on porn, it's like, it's so heartless. There's no love. There is no soul, and it's just like all about gratification, and but that's what is served to us for free. That's what possibly billions of people, or definitely hundreds of millions of people around the world, are addicted to, and having their perception of sex shaped by this this counterfeit version, or this black magic version of sex magic, sacred sexuality, where the emphasis is on taking pleasure, it's on extracting life force from a situation, from a sexual encounter, taking it, rather than building it, sharing it, exchanging it, using it as a resonance chamber to expand the energy body. So yeah, there's definitely a war. I mean, and I think, given that this is really the highest path, as we've been sharing, of course it makes sense that we are going to be targeted and attacked on that level in the most intense way. So I think for a lot of guys out there, you know, my audience, mostly guys, their approach to getting off addiction to porn, masturbation, orgasm, their approach is to simply shut out all of this stimulus, like to shut out women, to shut out the feminine, to shut out the idea of sex, and they just try and go full celibate mode. But I feel strongly that they're just creating a pattern of suppression. And I mean, what's your experience been like as a woman? Because you went through a period of celibacy, and I think you learned a lot from that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you about the war, for sure. They want us weak, right? And I actually had a channeling. I'll get to what you just asked me to. I had a channeling arrive in the around why they want us weak too, and it was about like the reincarnation. And if you don't attain this enlightenment or get yourself back to Eden, you're coming back here and you're doing it again.
Yeah.
Right. Just wanted to, I believe that anyway. You don't have to agree with me, but
I agree with
came
that,
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they want you weak because you're stuck in that cycle of consumption then, and, you know, here in the 3D realm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I reckon this is my last incarnation. So I'm going to make it, you know, make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
However, yeah, so when I chose to leave my marriage, I knew I had experienced, I guess, a lot of pain and hurt. And so I made a commitment to marry and to not enter into another relationship until I felt I'd come to a place of understanding and, you know, healing from what I'd been through. And so I was single and celibate for like 10 years, raising my children, working and I think about in the eighth or ninth year, slowly some desires and urges, toward men started to come back in. But, and then I did choose to partner, and I've been in a long. What I know, the difference between both being, solo cultivation, celibate, not spilling my energy.
Yeah.
I felt so golden. Like, I felt so full, so vibrant, so alive. I was able to see all the synchronicities day to day. I felt more in tune with and figured out where my grounded, centered self is and what my baseline energy is, right? Because we're all frequency. And so I could recognize, because I'm a very empathic and sensitive person, I could recognize when I've been pulled center by somebody else's energy. And I learned lots about energetic boundaries, like what's mine and what's yours, and how I can open to you and feel into you, right? But how I can also pull my energy back and stay contained and with my field. And then, so that was beautiful. Like that time just on my own was so beautiful to really, truly come to know me, my frequency, my grounded, centered self, and to see all the benefits of that in my world, in my external world, through opportunities and working relationships, through money, like abundance. Oh my God, I've never been. It's just flowing in, right? And then, I partnered, and it was beautiful, healing connection, and I've learned so much. However, I, fell into temptation and was having some amazing orgasms. Like, I won't lie, they've been phenomenal. Like, it's been the first man to really help me have cervical orgasms. Phenomenal. But I noticed straight away, within months, my energy levels, plummet.
Yeah.
My shine, my gold felt like it had diminished a little bit, and it felt like I had to work double time back to that, and I've got to do more yoga, more practices, more dance, more, and to try to restore the energy that I felt like was depleting each time I orgasm.
So interesting, yeah, because
it's tough. It's a tough one.
Yeah, because last time we spoke, I was kind of like bringing that idea to you, and I feel that you were open to it, but it seemed like you weren't quite really sure for yourself.
Yes, it's confusing because, part of me goes, I am a physical being in the physical incarnation right now. And if my body can do that, and it can feel so amazing, and it gets him too. Like, I don't know if you've ever opened a woman to that point where she's like...
gushing.
All turned on, yeah, and all that energy is just flowing, right? But, at what cost? I don't know.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm confused. I'm still sitting on the fence and a little confused because it is part of being physical and human. And pleasure is a beautiful thing. However, my Tantra training especially has really taught me the importance of pleasure for pleasure's sake. So come back to the whole porn addiction, or, even the way it's illustrated in other realms. But if we're habitually doing this kind of like pushing of the spot or stroking of the spot, and this hard, fast, frictiony kind of like pleasure seeking, that dulls the senses, right? It dulls the senses. And so for me, a lot of my solo practice has been around just slowing right down, exploring the body, and noticing, pleasure can be evoked in the most tiniest little subtlest ways. And so rather than any kind of rush to completion or habitual like thrusting or rubbing a spot, like, how do you stay connected to Eros? How
Yeah.
do you stay connected to where that pleasure body's moving through her and or you right now?
Mm.
So part of tantra is to be able to, we're not rushing to a destination. A destination doesn't matter. How do you be here now?
Mm.
How do you be right here and expand out and feel everything that is awaiting you in this moment?
That's it.
That's where the juice is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. Love the topic. For me, it's like you say, it's like my personal experience has been that the places I can get to when I don't indulge in the orgasm with my wife
Mm-hmm.
are so profound and so it's like they're so raw because there's no collapse of the attraction. There's no collapse of the tension. I was watching this Alan Watts clip the other day where he's saying, you know, who was it? Jung? Might have been, it was either Jung or the other psychoanalyst of the time, the other well-known one. But one of them was saying that they believed the sexual impulse was the desire to relieve tension.
Mm-hmm.
But then he was saying that many practitioners of Tantra realize that it's actually the tension which creates the pleasure. It's not the relief from the tension, it's the tension itself. The relief from the tension is almost just like tapping out because you can't contain the energy. And so he was saying, you know, one of the well-known practices of Tantra that we see on many temple walls in Buddhist temples and various different religious temples is the position where the man is sitting in the lotus posture and the woman sitting on top of him, legs wrapped around him, chests together, eyes locked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're just sitting there motionless. And
It's
that's...
like yibyam or something they call that.
What is it called?
I think it's called like yibyam.
Yeah, okay. And that's like... That is the purest form of yoga. It's like they're not going anywhere. They're sitting in that tension together and just feeling it. And he's saying they will sit there for hours just feeling those Ida and Pingala, masculine, feminine, energetic currents just like working up the spine. And he was saying it's that state of sexual arousal that allows them to go so deep into concentration that they are able to break through to samadhi. So it's like riding that current, it's riding that tension all the way up the tree of life.
Yes.
To me, it just makes so much sense. Like, yes, I know I've heard many accounts from women who they have this connection with their man and he makes them come so intensely and like the whole universe opens up and the fireworks all go off and it's like interdimensional, timeless being. But I just wonder if that is really, if that's costing, if there is a cost, if that is giving them like that instant panoramic firework surround sound experience but at the cost of, like you say, their energy body, their soul.
Yeah.
Like, it's, Samael calls it the path of the razor's edge for a reason, and Christ describes the narrow path which few are willing to walk for a reason. And I believe that there is something in the tree of knowledge of good and evil being the orgasm. But, you know, I'm still learning it for myself, because even for me at this stage, my wife still doesn't feel fully ready to step into that, like, relinquishing of the orgasm, which I don't blame her. Like, it will be a very, very rare woman who's like, oh yeah, I'll let go of the orgasm, sure. It's like, well, I'll let go of the most pleasurable experience in the world, sure, no probs. And this kind of masculine perspective, this focus on ascension, I think is quite like a masculine drive. It's like, let's ascend, let's fulfill a mission in the future, abstract, like, let's do a thing. And the woman's like, no, let's be here now and feel the pleasure. So, like, I totally get that tension and that conflict, but I'm just feeling more and more pulled to that path.
Just listening to you share and speak, then, you know, I can really feel that it's a living truth for you, which is so beautiful. And you help me understand my drive for that too, coming my inner masculine. You know what I mean? Because my desire has been for a partner who doesn't want to orgasm. You know, rather than someone who's wanting to take me to the end, push me over. Like, so I've learned where my edge is, and I know, like, it's through solo cultivation and partnered practice that we can figure out when we're at a 7 or an 8, you know, and be able to slow right back down and, like you say, sit and spread that energy.
Yeah.
Even if it's just staying nice and still on one spot, you know. It's fascinating stuff, but you've just got to find your beloved who has the same mission, I guess, or is devoted to the pathway in the way that you are. Yeah.
And I think, you know, a lot of men, and I would say probably a lot of women too, are in the point where they're like, oh, how could I ever find that in a partner? Who would ever want that? But if you be that, firstly, that's step one. Just be that.
Yes.
And then step two is, I really feel that as you step into that power, because you're walking that path, because you're foregoing the instant gratification and you're building your energy body, you're building that golden aura, when it comes time to partner with someone, you will be able to lead them. Like, you'll be able to set that energetic pace and that intention, because your energy will be so strong. And it's either going to repel them straight away, or they're going to be like, this feels right. I don't know why, but this feels good, and let's keep going. And that's what I'm sort of seeing with my wife. She's like, she's not belligerently asking me to make her come every time we have sex, but it's just like it's like this last little holding on to something very dear, and it just feels like she's slowly opening to that.
I feel like that's a very necessary part of the journey. You know, when we look at the between black tantra, grey tantra, and white tantra, I feel like sometimes we've got to go through what don't like or don't really do to get to what is truth or what we do. So like black tantra, like you say, we're spilling all the time, and it's like we're not caring. Grey, we're kind of sitting on the fence and doing a bit of both. So we might retain and we might spill, and we'll just flip flop for a bit and we'll play in that space. When we get to be, you know, in the space of white tantra, which sounds like that's where you're residing more and more, then you kind of understand, like, it's easier to be in that space because you understand what what they bring. So we need to grow beyond those approaches to be able to stay with white tantra practices indefinitely.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eating of the tree of life.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that was cool. I really enjoyed that convo. Is there anything else that you would like to dive into or open up before we finish that?
Um, just an invitation, I guess, like for anyone who wants to share or connect in any way. Like I'm in, Ben can share ways in which you can get in contact. But I think one of the most important things for men, for their own solo cultivation and or when they're partnered, that energy that can flow through a woman can be so intense. And unless your vessel can hold and contain in some ways that kind of energy, it's really easy for her to evoke from you that spilling, right?
Yeah.
Or if you're not playing to your edge or so being able to sit and stay with energy or back away from it, like it can be very intoxicating.
Oh
I get
yeah.
it, right?
Oh yeah.
And so part of partnered practice is, she's opening to you. She's opening all of her closure, opening her field to you. She's softening, she's being vulnerable, and she's flowing. Her full flow of eros is coming through. Can you hold that? Can you witness that? Can you feel that? You know? And if not, like, where is your stuck point? What do you need to do to in you to let that flow through you too? Because if all that charge is coming into you and you're not allowing it to flow out into the field and around and back in circulator, it could be really difficult.
It's just going to make
So
you
maybe
explode.
Yes, it will. So if that's something I can help anyone with, understanding their own energy bodies, how their own energy flows, where their own energy blockages are, or even anything to do with, their solo or partnered practices. Maybe that's why you invited me.
Yeah, that's definitely what I felt you would be able to bring, is to assist with that, removing these energetic blockages. And this can be trauma. I think in a lot of cases it's going to be to do with trauma. And trauma is really, like, the way I would explain trauma is just energy that hasn't been fully felt.
Yes.
So it's like, I feel that you have this ability to help people find where that blockage is, and assist them in feeling that, allowing that pattern to complete itself, so the energy can be clear and the channels can be open, and that the result is you do become that bigger container. More energy can flow through you. Your capacity is enhanced.
Exactly right. And add to that, another gift I may be able to bring is if anybody's had any trauma or wounding around their relationships with women, then hopefully, trauma that happens in relationship is also healed in relationship.
Great.
Right?
Point. Yeah.
So if I can be, for anyone who needs it, an example of the divine feminine and bring some unconditional love and an experience with a woman, that's why I'm here. I'm here to help heal those wounds, okay?
That's potent. Yeah.
Yes.
Because, I feel that the mother archetype and the actual mother, then the divine mother, the actual divine mother energy that permeates all of reality, and then also past relationships with women. These things are all inextricably linked, because as a man, like, you see one woman as you see another woman. This woman you unconsciously associate with your mother. Like, that's just how it works. And so, yeah, I feel that you can definitely hold that space strong and embody that divine mother and that physical mother and also that relationship woman, and allow men to clear all of that out. So I think that would be extremely valuable for anyone who feels the call to do some of this deeper work, because it's not all just about holding your seed. Holding your seed is what creates the energetic build-up to where this stuff gets pushed to the surface so that you can deal with it. It's just the tool.
Yes.
It's the tool for healing.
Yes.
So that's great. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for inviting me to share. It's a privilege to be in this space with you, men, and to chat with you on these topics, Ben. It's really beautiful. Thank you.
100%. Thank you, Alison.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you guys would like to connect with Alison, you can find her in the Sons of God community. We'll put the link below. And Ali, if you have your own personal link where people can connect with you directly, or maybe we can drop your email, we'll put that information under the video as well.
Sounds great. Will do.
Awesome. Well, thank
Till
you so
next
much.
time. You're
Till next time.
welcome.
Talk soon.
See ya.